Hey guys, welcome back to this place, and if you are new, welcome here for the very first time. I'm Carmen, and today we are watching season 3, episode 5 of The Leftovers. Last episode, we ended with a huge Kevin and Nora fight, and I am kind of nervous to see where we go from here. Kevin left with his dad. Nora was in the hotel room with the fire and the water, and apparently something has grounded all the planes. So there's just a lot going on. And I'm going to stop rambling so we can see what that is. Oh, I heard a noise.
Je suis le seul espoir, le dernier défense d'une espèce au bord de l'extinction.
Somebody's whispering something. French, maybe? It's too quiet for me to make out. Okay. A boat. Well, submarine. Right? Okay. Lion is his name. Maybe. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. Didn't know that we were getting full nudity. He's gonna attack this guy when he comes in. Oh, but why? Also, why do you have to be naked? Why is he naked? I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't harp on this, but I'm confused. Do they not know the code? I'm gonna have to censor the hell out of this. See him blow something up, maybe himself. How can he reach both keys? Okay. I still feel like he didn't have to be naked. I'm sorry. Just gonna say it. Maybe this is why all the planes are grounded. Whatever this is. But what did he do? Oh, there's Matt. Oh, okay.
God bless you, Reverend. Thank you.
It was French whispering and music. So he blew something up.
Arturo, I need you to fly me to Australia. Cargo plane with the donated food for El Salvador is sitting on the tarmac in Austin, fueled up and ready to go.
Okay, why don't...
They said all flights have been grounded.
All night.
Oh, okay. So that's why.
Reverend, I
Yeah,
can't leave my mother.
He's got to take care of people.
It's $20,000. It should be more than enough to compensate you for your time and get excellent care for your mother.
You said that we needed to be in Miracle on the 14th.
We will be. We'll
Right.
be back. But there's a man, a very special man, and he's supposed to be here with us. God has placed an obstacle in our way, but he wants us to overcome it.
Or he wants him to be in Melbourne.
We need to go get this man and bring him home.
Or...
Yes, a rescue mission, exactly.
Or... maybe he's not supposed to be in Miracle.
Okay.
I have some friends meeting us on the tarmac.
How many?
Just the three of us. 3 wise men.
Okay, you're assigning yourself a lot of importance, Matt. Oh. Lori and... interesting.
You invited her?
The only reason you even know where Kevin is because he called me.
And we're immensely grateful for that,
Oh,
Laura.
you're immensely grateful.
Yes, but with all due respect, I'm not sure you entirely grasp what's happening here.
That's very condescending.
My ex-husband experienced severe delusions and tried to kill himself. And instead of acknowledging his mental illness, you turned it into fucking scripture. And when he found out about it, he relapsed and ran halfway around the world, probably to get the fuck away from you. Is that what's happening here? Am I grasping it, Matt?
Could be.
This is your fault, you self-righteous shit!
Yeah, did you bring your whistle, Laurie? Because it sounds like you need to blow off a little.
Fuck you!
Everybody calm down.
Matt really can be an asshole, can't he?
And what exactly did he say? What did he specifically say that leads you to believe he's delusional? Did he see something or someone?
She said he was upset.
Upset about what exactly? Because I'm getting the feeling we're not hearing the entire story.
The whole story, Matt, is in your ridiculous book, which somehow you convinced my husband and my stepson to keep from me.
Yeah, well, they kept it from you because they knew this would be your reaction. This is my plane, my mission, and I will speak to Kevin because I absolutely refuse to believe he's psychotic.
I was married to Kevin for 15 years. He used to look through all of our cupboards before he found the wine glasses. He has a tattoo that's misspelled, and he shits 4 times a day. So I refuse, Matt, to believe that he's the goddamn second coming of Christ. Oh!
Okay, well, has it occurred to either of y'all that it doesn't actually matter what you think or believe? That what is? I don't think that Kevin is the second coming. I don't fucking know. But Jesus in scripture was just a human. So he also, ate and shit and did all of the other things that humans do. So I don't think her being like, he was just a regular guy, is the serve she thinks it is. You know what I mean? Oh. There's something wrong with Matt, too, because he was really sweaty, and he was, like, in the blanket before, and now his nose is bleeding. Is he sick again? Like, remember he used to go to the doctor and get checked for being sick again? Now he's taking meds. Has his cancer come back? Is he no longer in remission?
The airport's shut down. They're diverting us.
No, we're a relief mission. We're authorized.
They don't care.
Where are you gonna land?
Tasmania.
Oh.
Then how the hell do we get to Melbourne?
Okay, I think we gotta breathe and, stop yelling at everyone. Matt.
Is this where I get tickets for the ferry to Melbourne?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank God.
Unfortunately, tonight's ferry is booked for a private group. I'm afraid our first available is day after tomorrow.
No, that's too late. We need to get to Melbourne immediately. This private group must have a few extra seats.
They bought the boat, sir. If you want to get on, I'm afraid you're going to have to take it up with them. Okay,
who are they? I wouldn't trust Matt to be our liaison. It needs to be one of somebody else. Oh no, why are they having you in a little cage? What are they doing? You have one of your friends in a little cage.
I'm 91 and I'm having a son.
I'm sorry.
Is that their code phrase?
Are you a member of our pride?
No, but if we could become members, we're willing to pay.
Oh, no money allowed.
How come you didn't ask that guy whether he's 91 and having a son?
Well, he's a friend of the captain.
Well, we're friends of the captain, too.
Okay.
Is that true?
No, obviously not.
There's going to be sex on this boat. There's going to be a lot of it. Debased and sinful from port to port, all without judgment. Is that going to be all right for you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
She knows he's uptight. She can sense it.
The lady has free rein. No law can govern the lioness. And as for you fellas, there's only one rule, so learn it well. When midnight comes, let no man mention his name, lest that man become him.
Who's him?
Fraser.
Okay, this is a very strange boat, but okay. Can we just huddle in a corner while everybody's doing all their weird debauchery? I just hope that none of it actually involves this poor lion.
We're not gonna make it back to Miracle by the 14th, man.
Yeah.
I think we need to accept that whatever's gonna happen...
It's gonna happen
it's
here.
gonna happen here.
No. We're bringing him home. He has to be in Miracle.
Why? Why does he...
You know, it cured my wife. It gave me my son.
And my wife left me, and I lost my daughter. It's got nothing to do with where we live, man. We just gotta let go and see what happens. We're not in control of this thing.
You never were.
Because you gave control to Lori.
No, it's because you can't control the
Given a
uncontrollable.
little more control of Mary, she wouldn't have left.
A test of my faith in that place to see if I'd leave. So if you think I'm going to be in goddamn Australia on the day of reckoning... What?
Oh.
It's fine. Oh. I'm fine.
Oh my god. That's a lot. Maybe that's why he needs to be in Miracle, is because he thinks it'll save him.
He hit you, huh? Who knows? Can't hit you. Red hat in the beard likes the top deck. Well, that's the clear above you.
The friend of the captain, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Are we gonna recognize him?
I'm sorry to bother you.
I recognize him.
People you're God?
He's the guy from the bridge and also the karaoke, right?
I didn't create unicorns. Eve was not made from Adam's rib. It was his tibia. I asked Abraham to kill Isaac just to see if he'd do it. Yes, evolution is real, but it doesn't work how you think it. I had nothing to do with the Crusades nor any type of genocide/Holocaust. Can you believe this guy?
It was just a joke.
It's blasphemy is what it is.
You know he's not God. Why does it bother you?
Because he's saying he is, you know.
Or he is. How do y'all get to decide? You know, if you believe in God, if you believe that fucking Kevin is Jesus.
He got better because of us. Because of the work we've been doing. Because of the book. Laurie gave him psychobabble. We gave him faith.
She doesn't believe in the same thing we do, but she wants to help Kevin. I think she want to help you too if you just talk to her.
Yeah.
She's not part of this.
I think she is.
Matthew, John, Michael, they were all disciples. Maybe Laurie's one too.
Yeah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? So you have, right now we have John, Matt, Michael, Ori. If that's what you're trying to believe, you know.
I think we should play it your way. I mean, letting him believe that he's a messiah might be our best chance at earning his trust. And let's be honest, you have a better story.
My story is true.
Come on, Matt.
It's all true. It's based on fact. I just
Well-
wrote down what Kevin experienced.
Yes, but also...
He saw things that weren't there.
How do you know?
I can't say.
How do you know they weren't there?
Because Patty is dead. Because Evie is dead. If you...
Oh, okay. Yeah, you didn't mention that part before, Lori.
Is that what he said when he called you?
Please don't say anything. John and Michael, they wouldn't... Just please, Matt.
What kind of person do you think I am?
I honestly don't know sometimes.
I think you're a good person.
I think you're a good person, too.
I think good people can do horrible things in the name of what they think is right, though. Can we just be honest about that? Look at the toe beans. Look at the little toe beans. Oh my goodness.
Man overboard!
I saw you. I saw what you did.
And they said to watch out for him.
There's a man in the water!
I would talk to like the captain or somebody, not just the people that are doing drugs and having sex, because like they're probably not paying that close of attention, you know. Matt, don't do it. Matt, are you dumb? Matt? Okay.
What the hell were you thinking? I was trying to save
Okay,
a
they got
man's
him.
life. You need to get the ship's manifest and account for every passenger. Whoever's not on the boat, that's the man I saw go over.
There is no manifest, mate. Your people bought out the whole boat.
Right.
He was a broadcaster in the Sydney Games. Had quite the touch.
Okay.
He was a decathlete back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was on his thing.
Is how he went from being a sports announcer to Yahweh.
It was after he died.
Yeah, what?
He
About
wasn't.
3 years back, he went rock climbing with him.
He was in purgatory.
Fell 100 meters. Broke his neck. His mate dragged his body into the cave so the dingoes wouldn't eat the corpse. Made his way back to civilization, but when they got back there, Burton was sitting out the front of the cave, not a scratch on him, said he felt absolutely fine, and that he was God.
He was in purgatory on the bridge.
People don't actually believe this guy's God. Some do, sure. Most are just having a laugh. Spends most of his time in Tasmania. He's got a little cabin down there. He's quite a private sort of fella. Spends a bit of time on the ferry, just to be amongst the people. Nobody reported missing.
Well, those sex-crazed maniacs wouldn't notice anyone missing.
Very judgmental, Matt.
We dock in Melbourne in a few hours. And until then, mate, I suggest you go and find some dry clothes and enjoy the ride.
Just because you don't understand them wanting to have sex on this boat doesn't make them crazy.
When we got on the boat, you had a list of your members. Where is it?
Oh, I don't know, somewhere.
One of your people has gone in the water. We need to find out who he is.
Oh, no, thanks.
You don't care that somebody's been killed?
No, not really.
All you care about is fucking each other and Fraser!
Oh, you weren't supposed to say his name.
He spoke! His name!
Are they gonna put him in the cage?
At 91 years of age, who, by the force of man, was taken from his home. Taken north, across the border, where the lioness awaits a worthy mate. Who is the king that she awaits?
I hope this is not about to be a sexual assault situation, because I'm concerned. Are they just gonna put him in the on the thing? Oh. Okay, no, it is a creepy situation. No.
What are you doing?
This is not okay. This is fucked up.
Please, please, no! No! No!
Yeah.
No!
Okay, good.
You people are sick! One of your people is out there murdered, floating in the water, and you're in here doing this! You ought to be ashamed of yourself!
I don't know how to feel, because the sexual assault aspect is disgusting, but them just having sex is fine.
No one seems to care that I just witnessed the murder. The man who perpetrated it just assaulted me.
He what?
He hit me with impunity, and he needs to be dealt with.
Dealt with how?
We need to compel him to confess to what he did. Be not deceived. God shall not be mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
No, we're not reaping anyone, man.
Yeah.
You used to burn men's houses down for pretending to be things they're not. What happened to you, John? What happened to your wrath?
Maybe he healed. Have you considered it?
He found peace.
He thinks his daughter's still alive. That's not peace.
That is true.
Kevin told her he saw Evangeline.
Yeah, but then it wasn't. Let's focus on the fact that it wasn't.
Australia.
We saw that it was not her. Kevin saw that it was not her.
that true?
It wasn't her.
Yeah.
What he saw it was a manifestation of, she wasn't real.
There's a picture. I can prove it.
I didn't want to hurt you.
I understand. I wouldn't have told me either.
Okay.
I understand too. She was protecting you. That's what we're supposed to do for each other. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you said I won't tell him, and then you fucking did the second that it was convenient for you.
It's been a long day. I haven't had any sleep. We all need to get some rest before we dock. They've offered me a bed to lie down in the infirmary. I think I'll take them up on it.
No, you won't. I don't believe it.
This is a distraction. We need to focus on Kevin now.
No, I don't believe it for a second. I wouldn't believe this for a second, y'all. He's saying what he thinks that y'all want to hear, in my opinion. They just leave that shit lying around. What makes your story about Kevin more real than his story?
Why don't you transform those ropes into serpents and free yourself?
I don't need to do that. You're going to untie me once you get what you want.
What is it I want?
My attention.
You threw that man overboard.
Okay?
Okay.
Sure.
He never said he didn't, to be fair.
Say it.
I threw that man overboard.
Tell the captain and the authorities.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm the authority.
All right, you're the authority on everything. Creation, Isaac and Abraham, the decathlon, and yet you only won the bronze.
Well, that was before.
Of course. Because you weren't always God. You had to die in a rock climbing accident and come back to life just like your son Jesus.
He wasn't my son.
You're denying paternity?
Mary's word versus mine.
He was the one who died and rose again.
No. He rotted in the cave.
What?
Jesus had an identical twin brother. That's who everyone saw a few days later. Thus the confusion.
The twin theory?
Then what do you take responsibility for? The sudden departure?
Yeah. That was me.
The sudden departure was you.
Uh-huh.
It was the rapture, right? Supposedly.
Why?
Because I could.
You're gonna have to do better than that.
No, I don't.
You do.
Why?
Because there has to be a reason.
Because Matt needs there to be a reason.
I sacrificed my happiness. I let my family abandon me.
Why?
For you!
I mean, those were choices you made, though, Matt. You have to take accountability.
Everything you've done because you thought I was watching. Because you thought I was judging.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't. I'm not. You did it for yourself.
Is that why you're killing me?
Mm-hmm. The cancer.
When I was a boy, I was sick. And I prayed to you to save me, and you did. Why is it back?
I can save you again.
I don't fully believe that this guy's got either, to be clear, but
Untie me.
he's gonna throw you in like the fucking lion cage if you untie him, Matt. I don't think that you should just believe this man. Again, I know I said like what makes his story less real than Kevin's, but also what I don't believe it. He literally threw a man overboard. Matt is just desperate, you know? Desperate for answers. He's gonna just kill you or something.
Ta-da. You're safe.
thought he was going to kill him. He's probably just bullshitting Matt.
We will be docking in Melbourne shortly. Please dispose of all rubbish and collect your personal belongings before you disembark.
I really thought the man was going to throw him in the lion cage. Not even kidding.
Fishing boat found a body. Matches your description. I've notified the police. They'll be taking Burton into custody when we dock. They'd like you to go down the station and make a statement, assuming you don't have any pressing business in Melbourne.
No, I don't.
Okay, I don't understand. They're gonna try to let the lion free, aren't they? Based off what that guy has.
Thank you all for coming. I'm glad you're here.
Are you okay?
Actually, Laurie, I'm dying.
So did he just accept it?
David Burton, you are under arrest!
Yeah, they're letting the lion free. They're just gonna get this lion killed. Poor lion. See?
That's the guy I was telling you about.
Okay. All right. So I have been sitting here for a bit trying to think about this episode, figure out what my thoughts and opinions are, what I think it's trying to say about Matt as a character, about Matt's story, about his journey, about his faith and X, Y, and Z, right? So I don't know, essentially. And maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, but I feel like The Leftovers wants us to think about it, right? They want us to ask ourselves these questions and try to figure out how we think and how we feel and what we think that the show is saying by depicting X, Y, and Z, and what it says about the characters and what it says about faith and religion and all of the things, right? And I don't know what I think about this episode. It kind of reminds me of the episode in season 2, the Purgatory episode, right? Because it's such a complicated episode on first watch. Also, I say the Purgatory episode. If you guys have been watching this, hopefully you remember that my idea of the hotel that Kevin went to, that's the Purgatory that I'm talking about when I reference Purgatory, because to me that kind of seemed the best and easiest explanation for what was going on in that situation. Now, a few things. One, the guy in this episode, I very much believe is that same guy from the bridge and the karaoke bar in Purgatory / the hotel that Kevin sees. Let me know, please, if I'm operating off of a false belief and that is not true and that's not the same person. Because a lot of my thoughts and opinions that I'm postulating in this episode are going to be based off of that. So please, because I'm going to watch the next episode in a couple days, after I post this, let me know if that is based off of falsehood, because I don't want to go forward with false information and then form hypotheses and thoughts and opinions based off of just me being wrong, So I don't know what it means that is the same person, right? Now, if that is the same person, I think that because they said he died 3 years ago, right? So he would have been in the same sort of hotel purgatory situation as Kevin. But he kind of gave Kevin advice, like he knew what to do. Now, I'm not saying that I believe that this man is or was or is an iteration of God, right? In the Leftovers universe. I don't know. I don't think that you can die and then become God. Although, again, I don't know how it works in this universe. I would stray away from believing that that's how it works, but I also don't know the rules of the world in which we are, right? Like, I have no idea what the rules are in the Leftovers universe. And every time I think that I might kind of know what the rules are, I feel like that I am incorrect. So, I don't know. I could believe that he's another person like Kevin who is experiencing this sort of thing, because Mary was also in the hotel in purgatory and she was able to come back. Maybe that was just part of that man's story. What was his name? David Burton. Maybe that was just part of his story and he bought into it too much, or he was a pawn in God's game. I don't know. It's hard because, as you saw, I got a little frustrated in this episode because Matt is like, this man is not God. He's pretending to be God. We have to stop him. And ultimately, do I believe that he was the God of the Leftovers universe? If there is a God in the Leftovers universe? Probably not. However, it's interesting to me that Matt knows everything that he knows about Kevin and believes that he is like a messiah, the second coming of whatever of sorts. And yet he hears this story that is very similar to Kevin's, and he immediately dismisses it as fake and false based off of what he believes. I don't know. I think it's interesting because I don't understand the parameters by which Matt's faith exists. He's like, it's based off of facts, which yes and no. And if it is just based off of facts, the fact is that this man, like what the captain told you, went through something very similar to Kevin. So would you not believe to some extent that he knows something or has a connection to something, regardless of whether or not you think that he is or is not God? I get that this episode and everything that's sort of happening around Matt right now is Matt struggling with his faith because of what he's lost because of that faith. Like Matt said in this episode, he has spent his entire life since he was a child devoting his life to his faith, to God, to trying to bring people to God because it saved him. I'm going to use parentheses here, sorry. It saved him, from his perspective, when he was a child, because when he prayed, he was healed, and he believes that it was God and his prayer that saved him. And he came to Miracle, his wife woke up. Could those two things be completely unrelated? Yes, but Matt has chosen to correlate the two. So that is another indicator of his faith. His wife got pregnant with a child while they were in Miracle. That was his miracle. He is, again, another notch in the belt of, like, my faith is rewarding me. However, then he lost his wife. And instead of doing the work internally to be like, maybe I wasn't as present in the relationship as I could have been, maybe I was too controlling, maybe X, Y, and Z. He chose to look at it as a test of his faith and let her go. I'm not really sure why, but that's how he chose to see it. And then now he got sick again. The cancer has returned. He's no longer in remission. And he's looking at that as a punishment, maybe, or he's trying to figure out why God would do this to him when he has been nothing but faithful. I think it's complicated because I think that as a religious person, you kind of are going to have those questions. You are going to have those struggles. When shit happens in your life, you're going to say, like, why me? Especially if you have spent your whole life being very faithful to this religion, this idea of the way the world works, whatever you want to call it, right? There is always going to be moments that test your faith, you know, for lack of a better word. And I think that Matt is valid, incredibly valid as a religious person for running up against those obstacles and saying, do I still believe, knowing that the miracles don't always happen? Do I still believe? Do I look at it as God gave me all these years? He gave me a child. He gave me a wife. He gave me all of these things that I wouldn't have had if he hadn't granted me that. Or do you say, but I spent my whole life being faithful. Why don't I get more? And I don't think it's selfish to look at it that way. I don't assign any sort of moral success or failure to whether or not Matt, like how Matt thinks about the bad things that have happened in his life, right? Because I do think that even if you are a very strong person in your faith, there's going to be moments where you falter because life is hard, because shit is going to happen. And if you do believe, it's easy to say, like, why would God allow this to happen? I do wish that Matt would be more proactive in his faith. Like, okay, my relationship that I believe that God gave me a second chance at is failing. Don't look at that as a test and let her leave. Say, okay, this is when I have to be proactive because God gave me the second chance at this relationship, but he can't keep giving me chances at this relationship. Now it's up to me to fix it. I does that make sense? I think that where I sort of bump up against religion sometimes is when people use it as a stop point. I just don't like it when people rest on their laurels, I guess. Right? Like, don't just say this is a test from God. Like, what do you think what do you think he's testing? And if it is a test, maybe the test is that you wake up in your relationship and fix it, not that you let her leave. I don't know. Like I said, maybe that's just my own personal stuff getting in the way of how I take in the story. But also, I think that that is valid as well, because no two people are going to take in the same story the same way, the same art, the same anything, because we're all different people and we all interpret and see the world in different ways, colored through our own lens of experience and perception and belief. I think that maybe I take something different away from this than someone else, but I think that that's okay. And I think that that's what makes reactions so much fun and so interesting, because we do all color everything through our own personal beliefs and perspectives and biases. And X, Y, and Z. So the way that I view Matt as a character and I view this episode and what he's doing is going to be different than somebody else who has different life experiences and religious experiences and beliefs and ideas about the world than I do. I am coming at it from the perspective of someone who was raised in roughly the same religion as Matt, like Christianity, right? I don't think the same denomination or anything like that. And obviously, Matt and I, as a character and as a person, have different experiences because I didn't have leukemia when I was a child. I did have prayers that I believed that God answered. You know, I have my own perspective on certain things and God and religion and religious people and judgment and shame and like different. This isn't about that because I could go on a tangent and I'm sorry because I kind of am. But it's just interesting to me because I do think that that is something that is so fascinating, is that the writers who wrote this episode, the actors who acted this episode, the storyline throughout, it all is based off of different perspectives, right? Like, do I have the same perspective? And am I getting the intention that they put in out of it? I don't know. But I think it's really interesting because I think that two people could watch this same episode and feel vastly different ways about it. Like, for example, I shouldn't just automatically start with the strange people. The lion people, right? Which I just now realized that the French guy who blew up the ship in the South Pacific, his name was Lion, Lyon. And then they're on a ship with a lion, Lion. And I'm sure that there is some parallel symbolism happening there that I did not think about till just now. And luckily I have my notes, so I wrote it down, or else I probably wouldn't have even thought about it again. But that's really interesting because that lion, the Frenchman, diverted Matt's path so that he ended up here. And then this lion, the bigger version of my little house cat over here, also diverted Matt's plan. And like, was that all part of God's plan? I don't know. It's worth thinking about. I also lost track of what I was saying. Oh yeah. So these Frasier worshipping lion people and their sex orgy party, I think it's really interesting because Matt comes into it very judgmental, right? He's immediately judgmental. He's like, y'all are sick, y'all are just having sex and depravity and blah, blah, blah. And I don't come at it from that perspective. Like, I'm like, this is a little bit strange. You know, not my cup of tea. But usually, unless people are actively hurting other people with what they're doing, I don't really care. My biggest problem with it, honestly, is that they had this poor lion in a cage and they're traipsing it all around, and like, that's animal cruelty to me. So that's kind of my biggest issue with what they were doing. And then the weird sexual assault aspect of what they were doing to Matt, because I will say most of the other people probably didn't know that Matt was not a willing participant in this, right? Because they have the rule, they know. So usually if somebody says it, it's probably because they want to perform in front of people, which again, that's their prerogative, not for me to judge. However, I am glad that they let Matt say no eventually. But the fact, like, again, maybe they thought he was playing it up at first and that's why. But it came across, I was very concerned at first because it did seem to be crossing a line. So I'm glad that they didn't cross that line, even though they kind of tiptoed towards it. Again, I will give the benefit of the doubt to some of the people because, except for, we know the one lady knew that he didn't really know what was going on. So her I'm judging because she was allowing this to happen, knowing full well that he didn't really understand the full consequence of what he said, right? Whereas the other partiers, I'm not sure their level of cognizance of Matt's knowledge or involvement, right? So I'm not going to judge them too harshly. Although that lady also did say she did not care that somebody was murdered, which is kind of crazy. Also, it's interesting because I believe that this... Actually, when was this episode? The show started in 2014. I think someone said this show came out in 2017. So is there supposed to be... Because I didn't mention it during the episode because I wasn't sure when this aired. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was 2017. So is there supposed to be a symbolism with the fact that the man is wearing a red hat? Fellow Americans, if you know. If you know. Also, I just want to quickly say, fuck those people who let the lion out of the cage. I don't know if they thought they were helping the lion. All they were doing was signing the lion's death certificate because they're going to shoot a wild animal that's in a crowd of people. That's the only solution that there ever will be, unfortunately. I hate it because it's not the animal's fault. They are behaving like a wild animal because that's what they are. And we should not have different expectations for them than being a wild animal. We should leave them the fuck alone. But I have an issue with the lion being in the cage and being used in the way that it's being used anyway. But I also have an issue with them letting it go because if you're trying to free the lion, all you're doing is getting it killed. I also am kind of confused about what Matt's takeaway was in this episode because I think that I understand, like I said, his anger and his questioning of his faith based off of the bad things that have happened. Like when he's talking to the guy and he says, why would you make me sick again if I've done everything that you've ever asked of me? And the guy's like, well, I can help you. And then he snaps his fingers, which I don't think did fuck all. And I think Matt also knows did fuck all. But I wonder what his takeaway was. Like, I can't tell. He seemed at peace at the end, even though he knew that the guy was bullshitting, I believe. I wonder if, for him, that was just another test of his faith and the fact that he was willing to confront the false god and stand against him is proof in Matt's mind he is still faithful and that God is still with him, because the false god at the end was killed by the lion and he was going to get arrested and he was going to face charges for the murder that he committed. So I wonder if the peace that Matt felt was by accepting that the miracle isn't always going to be what you want it to be, but that faith is still a cornerstone of his life, right? Like maybe he won't get all the rewards in this life. Maybe he won't. But if he continues on the path, then he'll get rewarded in the next. I don't know. I like Matt as a character, but he was also very frustrating to me because, like I said, of his, like, I feel like the things that he takes away from situations aren't really what I would take away from a situation, and I think that's where I kind of bump up against him, because I want him to keep his faith, sure, but take actions and don't just say, this is what God wants, so I'm not going to fight against it, because maybe you don't know the full complexity of God's plan, you know? I'm going to stop rambling at you guys. I'm sorry. I know this was a long ramble sesh, so I apologize for that. I hope that you guys are having a good Friday, And I hope that I see you for episode 6 next time. And if you want to watch episode 6 right now, you're already watching this on YouTube, it's gone public, then you can watch you can watch that episode right now on my Patreon. Hopefully that made sense. I feel like I'm losing it a little bit. We are very rapidly approaching the end of this show. And I genuinely have no idea. How they're going to end it, or how they're going to wrap up everything, or how they're going to explain even half of the things that they have left to explain.